Hey there, and welcome back to Lightroom Quickstart Bootcamp. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the library module Central Grid. Let's get started. All right, this item in the Central Grid, what I mean by that, just all these things that are here between the panels. So if I were to hit the tab key and you can see those panels go away, and I have this grid of images, that is what I'm talking about. Now in this particular folder, you can see I've got a bunch of rejected images. I guess I'm not going to be too terribly concerned about that, but really, let's see. What I need to do, I need to switch over. Let's switch over to my main photos folder, which has over 27,000 images in it. And that's just going to give us more opportunity to search for things. What I'm particularly looking for to show you are these items up here, library, filter, and what we're going to deal with here, text, attribute, metadata, and none. And then of course it says filters off. So let's explore all of these items that we have along here. So I'm going to click on the first one, text, and it brings up this little bit of a window here, a little bit of an expanded window. Any searchable field contains all, and then we can just search. So if I were to search for Croatia, we could see, is it going to load anything? Do I have anything loaded here? Whether it's a keyword or anything along those lines, maybe it's in the caption or something like that. Well, certainly I have a bunch of images from Croatia that have something to do. See, here it is right there with that item in the keyword. Now this is any searchable field, so this is extremely broad. What if I wanted to narrow this down to only file name? Well, if I were to do file name, certainly I have nothing in the Croatia, but I should have THR because that's my code for Croatia. And so all of the Croatia images will then come up. All right, I can look also at whatever. I'm actually not sure what copy name is. This is where you get the benefit of, if I don't know something, I'm just going to tell you. And this would be something, we're in the Quickstart Bootcamp anyway. So yeah, I would have to look that up and see what copy name means. If you want to leave something here in the description below, or I should say the comments below, by all means, I invite that so you can tell us what that is. All right, we can search the title, the caption, the keywords. What we're looking at there, let's click on a particular image and I'll get rid of my keywords and I'll look at my metadata here. And you can see here we have a field called title. We have another one called caption, and then we have a few other items that we're looking at here. So keywords certainly comes up in this item here. So what keywords are applied to this image? Currently, there are none, but I could certainly apply them and then I could search just my keywords. We also have then other searchable metadata. Let's see what happens in that. So with searchable metadata, that's going to be, let's do this, any of these other items. So like I could search for my name with a copyright name and things like that. Any of these other items that are otherwise searchable, we would be able to bring those images up and put them in the view here. All right, it's hugely important that we remember what exactly we are doing here. We are filtering the view. We are not changing positions or locations or anything of any images on the hard drive or anywhere in our Lightroom catalog. We are simply saying, okay, of everything that's in this photos folder, what are we going to do? We're going to use that as our master search. And then what are we going to do? We're limiting it to that folder and everything that is in those subfolders. Because if you'll remember, we turned this on a while ago. So show all photos and subfolders. Then it's going to grab everything within those subfolders. If I wanted to drill down and I wanted to search just my international images, certainly I could just search that folder and I could then take these items. Like if I were to look for Washington, for anything USWA, it's not going to be there because they don't exist in the international folder. So it's just, we're drilling down with where we can search by our folder selection and then with what we're searching over here in the search field. So again, we're only going to filter the view of what's here. That's where when you're done, click none and all the pictures come back. All the pictures are just suddenly, there we are. And here I am in Chile with a bunch of cotton candy. All right, moving on. All right, this next item, attribute. So we can search different attributes. Again, according to the folder that we're in, we can search for flag attributes, whether or not they've had some edits or no edits, our rating, our star rating, and our color. So the color labels that we can apply. And then here we have the kind. So here we have just regular photos, virtual copies. So regular photos means they call it here master photos. Those are the raw files or the JPEG files. Anything that has to do with a regular instance of an actual file on your hard drive, that's what we're talking about. You can also create these things called virtual copies. We could filter out, just show me all the virtual copies already. All right, so here's all the virtual copies I've made of these various images, and it will show me just the virtual copies. So that's kind of fun. Or we can say, hey, show me just the movies, just the videos. And so it will bring up, now I probably still have a few. I don't usually keep my videos in my Lightroom catalog. But let's go through some of these and make sure we understand exactly what these are. So the flagged, these are going to just show us within this international folder all of the images that I happen to hit that flagged button on. Then we're going to toggle in. Now this is all flagged and unflagged. So I've hit both, and so it will include both items. So if I were to take off the flagged, then it's only going to show me the unflagged. I'll take off that toggle, and then nothing is being filtered. And then let's see if we still have any rejects here. No rejects. So I did my job. I deleted them before they came over into their main folder where their regular keeping place. So I don't have any additional rejects to worry about. All right, so those that have been edited already. All right, so this is a view of all of the images that have been edited. Now, let's say I wanted to go through, let's say for some reason, my images of Germany. I still have some images here. Let's go to Attribute, and let's not just show the images that have received some edits. Let's only do images that have not received any edits. And then I would know this image, I actually haven't gone through yet with changing the sliders in the develop module. That's what we mean by the edits. So we've got the opportunity to say, well, let's get caught up with ourselves. What do we have left to do in order to actually finish all the photos in this folder? So way down here, we can see I am seeing 477 of 684 photos in this folder. So we can see in the main folder, I've got 684 there, but down here, the view is only 477, where if we were to say, let's just show the edits only, that's 205. So certainly those two numbers, they better equal 684, otherwise something else is going on. When it comes to our rating, we have the opportunity to filter the rating up here. Now, another thing, we have these filters down here, which basically do the exact same thing. So when it comes to attribute, you have two ways of making this happen. We have these filters down here, which I'll get to just in a second, but we can also do it up here in the grid view. Notice, please, when I am in the loop view, so if I would hit the E key or I just double clicked on it this time, that whole thing across the top goes away, and I am not able to filter any view of these images, but I still do have these filters down here for these different attributes. And so that's nice to have that down here, which just shows me everything in the film strip. So let's hit the G key once again to get back to our grid view. We're back to attribute and with our rating. So I could say, show me all the 1-star images. Show me all the 3-star images. Or what we have here, rating is greater than or equal to, or rating is less than or equal to, or rating is equal to. So if I were to hit is equal to, in the Germany folder, I have none that are 3 stars. How about less than or equal to? I have plenty that are less than, or it also equals 0. It considers that. That's kind of funny. And then, of course, the other option is greater than or equal to. And we can see all of these are 5 stars. For some reason, here at the Bauhaus, I thought these needed the 5-star rating for some reason. I bet you I was just selecting them out for a slideshow for class or something like that. But there you have it. So let's take that off. And then we can go with a color label. Now this is a definition that I don't use all that often. So I'm going to go back here to my main, well, I guess I could do the international photo folder. That's fine. Let's go back to attribute and let's select, let's see, I think it's the purple one. I can't remember. We also have blue. So this is, the blue is for one of my agents, and then also the orange is for one of my agents. So let's take off the purple. See, I have no orange from international. I have the yellow for some reason. Again, I don't know exactly why I assigned yellow to that particular image, but I did assign it to that particular image. All right. Now what we can look at, let's take half a step and not look at these for just a moment. And let's come down here and take a look at these items down here. I'm going to go ahead and double click on this image to get me into loop view. And then again, I can still go with the flagged view. So it's only showing flagged photos, toggle that off. Only show unflagged photos, toggle that off. Or as we've seen before, there is nothing when we do the rejected photos. We can then show the edited photos, toggle that off. Show the unedited photos, toggle that back off. And then we have the same idea with the star ratings and the color label ratings. All right, let's take a look down here at this drop-down menu item. Now here's a thing where there is a lot to this, and I just want to give us a little bit of a preview on this and what it's about. So for instance, here it says unrated. And then if I were to click this, you notice it changes to custom filter. I then have this little toggle where I can actually turn on and off the filters. So I think it can get a little potentially confusing here when we're dealing with that. Notice this is just a purely on-off switch for the whole thing. And I could go with flagged and those that are, let's say, 5-star images. So only flagged photos that are also 5 stars. So both of them are coming in all at once. Again, I can turn both those off, turn both those back on. I can turn one of them off, turn both of them off. And let's look at filters off. Let's say, where everything just literally turns off, and that's all fine and good. But usually I just stick with what it does, what it calls a custom. And so that's where I can just say, yep, let's turn that on, let's turn these off, and I just do it manually. That's usually my MO for just dealing with those manually. All right, let's take one last look up here. We have some metadata items. Now this is where, and I can expand this is where it gets really fun. So we can look at the date by default, the camera, the lens, and of course the label. Now, if we were to click this, we have so many different pieces of metadata to choose from. Now, all of these different pieces of metadata, notice I can select date here as well. So it's the exact same thing. So you have the exact same ideas, the exact same pieces of data that you can come out with. So let's look at state and provinces. And so, Oaxaca state there in Mexico, British Columbia, for some reason that got tagged in just this one image only, but then let's go to everything, basically turning that off. We have so many different pieces of information that we can filter. And then over here, we can remove this column. So we don't have, what if I wanted everything from the Canon 5D with the 20 to 35 millimeter shot in 2009. So these are the only images that I have in my library shot in 2009 on this lens on that camera. And so that can be pretty powerful if you know specifically what you're looking for. And I think that can be a cool thing for sure. Again, flash state, ISO speed, your aperture, so many different things that you can search for that you can whittle down what is actually being shown here in the grid view for your images. All right, so I'm going to turn all this off, and I just have to come up here and hit that none button, and then it just all goes away. And now let's talk about what we're dealing with along the bottom of the grid here and what we can look at here. Well, the easiest thing is probably where my mouse is, where it says thumbnails. I make that bigger, I make those smaller. And it's just a quick view of changing the thumbnail size. This is where also I can apply that blue flag, or that red label is what I should call it actually, or toggle it off. I can rotate the image. So if for some reason that image was, the auto sensor in the camera didn't get it just right, I can rotate that image either way. On this, select next photo. Okay, not sure why I would want a button to do that, because I would just usually use my arrow keys or just go click on a picture. But you know, if you got some reason to do that, okay. On this one, they call it impromptu slideshow. So basically, Lightroom has a built-in slideshow mechanism. You can just whatever you're viewing. So basically, all these 4,958 pictures, it's going to start on this image. If I hit that button, it'll put a slideshow together and it'll just show it to me on screen. I can also apply the different star ratings. So you can see that one I applied 5 stars, or maybe I'm like, nope, I want 3 stars. Toggle that off again. I can also just hit 3 on the keyboard and then that happens, and you can see how it's reflected here. I can apply the pick flag, the reject flag. I'll make sure to keep the pick flag on since that's what I had before. The sort by file name. Basically, how do you want to sort the view of your images? We could sort them by capture time, edit time, whatever edit count is, your ratings, put all your 5 stars up above in your sort view that you have going on here. Lots of different ways of selecting your sort. And then your sort, either descending or ascending. Which direction, which way do you want to go, to A to Z or Z to A? Now this one we're actually going to look at a little bit later, the painter. I'm not going to address that now. We will revisit it a little bit later. This is your standard grid view. Again, the loop view, so grid, loop. All right, so let's take a look at these items here, the compare view and the survey view. This is important. Let's switch it to this way here. Let's I think look at it this way. I think this would be important if you had images that you're truly trying to decide what's best. And you can kind of quickly, you know, if you look just at this one image and you want to flip back and forth, okay, see, I like that better. It's not as blown out. So I'm going to go ahead and then get rid of this one, and then I can go to the next one. And that allows me to just keep looking right at that same area, and I can just, you know, I like how this has the brighter shadows, but I like the other one without the blown out highlights. So yeah, let's maybe do that or something along these lines. And then this is just getting too dark. And then this is where I did some kind of HDR treatment so I can kind of go in and look. And again, I'm looking only at this image. And so that's where I think this process can be really helpful with that. So of course you can take a look at the zooms and zoom it in a little bit. That can be pretty nice to do. All right, let's take a look at this next item, the survey view. Now the survey view is basically the same idea, only you've got the opportunity to have multiple images shown all at once. And so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my panels by hitting the tab tool, the tab key, and they make it a little bit larger. And then with these, you know, we can look at them. And I actually like this function a little bit better because I can look at them all and be like, nope, I don't want that one. And nope, that one's bad. And that one's bad. And what happens between these? And then I'm like, oh, it's between these two, you know? And depending on the needs for what I want, I would maybe then settle on this image. And then I know this is the good image. This is the one that I want to keep or publish or whatever. So yeah, for me, the survey view is a little bit better, a little bit more useful. I personally like it a little bit better. All right, well, let's double click on that. I think we're going to double click on that. There we go. Get back into our grid view. And that will wrap it up for this video where we took a look at the central grid. We looked at how to filter items and what these items across the bottom mean. There's actually one more thing I forgot to talk about. That is this little thing right down here. You can see all these different items we have turned on. And so we can actually turn some of these off. So if I wanted to take off the rotate option, and I wanted to take off the navigate option, and let's take off the slideshow option, then those buttons go away and I just don't have to worry about accidentally hitting them or doing whatever else with those buttons there. All right, we'll catch you in the next video where we're going to take a look at various items relating to the film strip. We'll see you there. Until then, happy shooting.